My name is Celina. I live in the New Jersey, New York metro area, and I am a director of HR talent management.
Amazing.
Yes.
HR people unite.
Yay.
So great to spend time with you. So hey, to set the stage for maybe people that are watching this, would you mind sharing where you were in your job search before you came into Career Amp? So what was happening?
Well, a lot. And then being not trapped, but being in a job market that was as challenging as it's been over the past 2 years is where I found myself. And my challenge was it wasn't that I wasn't getting interviews because I have a good background in HR with a focus on media and communications industry as well as technology. So I have a really good background in those fields as an HR professional. And so my resume getting noticed wasn't my challenge. Me getting interviews wasn't so difficult. It's being the bridesmaid that
Yeah.
experiencing not making it to that final stage and getting the offer that I found very challenging and kind of felt very defeated by.
Mm,
So that's where I was, and it was I needed to figure out what was it about me that wasn't resonating with the decision makers that I needed to try to
sure.
fix.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be daunting because we don't often get interview feedback. Sometimes we do, but oftentimes not. And you know this as an HR person, we tell people that they shouldn't be getting feedback just because it protects the company. But it's frustrating as a job seeker because then we don't have feedback on what we need to do to show up differently. So that
Yeah.
completely resonates with me, and I've absolutely been there myself. So as you were evaluating partners or coaching programs to help you in that pursuit, what was important to you about finding a coaching partner as you were looking at options?
Well, again, my story is kind of, I don't know if unique. I had already had a coaching partner. I actually coaching, some of my best friends were coaches, career coaches. And so I had already invested in having a coaching partner, but her focus was more about leadership kind of coaching and helping me kind of, be that person at the table that leaders would look to. So our focus was primarily that. I needed a different type of coaching to again help me get over that hurdle when it came to interviewing and being selected. So having a specialist that could help me focus on that piece was something that I felt I was missing. And I found you. So that's
That's
what.
that's great. Well, so glad our paths crossed, and obviously we have something to celebrate, which is your new gig, which we're so thrilled for you for and about. If you were to kind of go back in time to your first couple of weeks inside of Career Amp, what would you say was like maybe an immediate win or an aha moment that you had right when you joined?
It was the first, I think, coaching session that I had with one of the career counselors. And when we were doing, the our profile, which
Mm,
again is not again as an HR person, it's to me it wasn't new, but I think the questions that she was asking about how my strengths were and why she would ask me why I felt these were my strengths. And that's a question I always ask of my people that I'm counseling, but I never really got to ask that of myself.
mm,
And so the tables being turned around where I'm being asked those questions as to why I feel these are my strengths. Why do I feel that I bring this? Why is my story this way? And why
yes.
is very important. So asking me having to answer the whys and articulating them and then putting them down on paper, in a
Mhm.
profile, and then actually seeing it made it very real, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's different when the tables are turned and we get to pour into ourselves, which we
Mhm.
often don't do with HR people. Well, I'd argue professionals in general, but especially HR people because we're pouring into people all day long.
Yeah.
So it's a powerful, powerful thing that you called out. Okay, cool. And then what would you say was your biggest wins? Obviously, you're in your new gig, so is it that? Is it something else along the way? What would you say?
Oh, there's several. I am basically an introvert. I hated networking
Mm,
and those side conversation concepts of trying to find a total stranger that you keep harping on. Part of the program was something that I had just a true aversion to until I did it, and I think it was like one of my second chats with someone that was like, oh, it was like a discovery that, and I acknowledged to the person that this is something I'm not used to doing. I hate trying to talk to strangers and whatnot.
hmm.
And he said, me too. But it was one of the most exhilarating kinds of conversations that I've had in a long time. And we shared, like, I was telling him about my apprehensions and what I was wanting to do. And the position that he was currently in was something that I aspired to be. And he gave me all these tips. He gave me all of these suggestions as to when I interview to prepare for in the
Mm,
interview. so that they could see that the research that I've done, because that this require someone who can do research and come up with solutions and whatnot. So he gave me a lot of that feedback, and I took it and used it, and it worked. And so I've had a number, and I know in our coaching calls, they're called meaningful conversations. And so now I've done these side chats with a number, and we're talking some, companies that the dream companies that people want. And I've had several conversations with individuals within those companies, and they've been really enlightening. They've been honest and open. They talk about it's not a dream world, even though it may be a dream company. They share their stories and what been like some really great, meaningful conversations that we continue to have occasionally with some of those individuals. So that for me was one of the biggest wins, where talking to strangers in the professional world is something I'm okay with now, I think.
Oh, that is so amazing to hear, and it is scary talking to strangers. Just point blank period. If you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, maybe different level of scary. And I'm just so pleased that at the other end of this, you've seen a transformation in yourself, and know that it's a thing that has added a ton of value to the way in which that you conduct yourself and network that you build, and obviously how it helps with interview preparations as well too. So yay you for utilizing the side door method. Very, 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 very proud of you, and congrats. Okay, last question here, Celina, which is, if someone's watching this conversation and they are on the fence on whether or not they want to join Career Amp, what would you tell them, or what would you want them to hear?
Get off the fence. Because being on the fence hasn't gotten you very far. You're just sitting on the fence and not really going anywhere. So get off the fence and jump on the side and at least test it out.
Amazing. So good. So great. Anything else you wanted to add before we sign off?
It has been a fun journey. I'm sticking with the Career Amp Network. I'm going to be following everybody on Facebook. I love seeing all of the wins that are taking place. I think it's a great community, and I have a feeling that it'll even grow even more once everybody gets hired. That it'll be a huge, if not already huge, community of support.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Celina. It was great spending time with you.